right, we're joined now by Colin Dean on the Hive podcast this week. It's a big week for men's lacrosse as they get ready for their first game of the season this Saturday against Randolph. First things first, Colin, how are things so far with the team, and what's it like being back for a little bit of extra practice than you anticipated when you first came to Lynchburg?
Yeah, I mean it's been great. Really unique situation, I think, with just coming back a week early for school, and we had like a week before we started classes and everything, and I think it's definitely benefited us and allowed us to work on a bunch of different things, and really sharpen the iron and get better at those different things that we had time to focus on in the fall, but then just really going into the season, being able to have two scrimmages against some great teams, UVA and High Point, and I think we're looking good, and that's just really really awesome. We're able to make everything work because obviously there's some teams that aren't doing that per se right now. So definitely really grateful for the opportunity to be able to come back and play again with my classmates and everything like that. Brooks, Trammell, Tyler, Quentin joining us from Mary Washington, and then also Pierce.
Now, it's obvious for people to understand what the negatives were of ending the season early last year, but what about benefits? Have there been any benefits that you and your fellow returnees have experienced having this extra time?
I mean, I definitely think anytime that as an athlete you can get another year of kind of maturity and just another year under your belt of like repetition and practice and really all those things combined. I mean, if you look at Trammell, I know Trammell's 23 years old, Tyler's 23, Brooks and I both turned 23 in May, and then also Pierce turns 23 in May, and then Quentin's also 23 as well. So for that aspect, I think you're a 23-year-old versus a 21 or 22-year-old playing against guys that are all younger than you, and obviously just as things go along, you mature and you get stronger and bigger and more athletic and things like that. So I think that's definitely a bright side of this. And then also too, I mean, being able to come back and pursue a graduate degree along with those guys, with the exception of Tyler, all of us are in the MBA program. And I know Trammell and Pierce are both doing the cybersecurity emphasis in that. So really just being able to do that and get more education, learn more, and have another degree and have that opportunity is really, I think those are really some of the bright sides of that.
I want to get into a little bit of the practice dynamic because traditionally you guys would have graduated, people who kind of been waiting their turn would step up and take those spots. You guys come back though. Is there more of an edge to practice? Because some guys that maybe thought, that should have been my spot, and now these guys are coming back and keeping that spot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's really any different than really how the past years have been. I think that was one of the craziest things is me coming in as a freshman was the competition level of every practice is through the roof. And I think that's something I think our program, and I know Coach K and everything really prides our program on, is we're going to be competitive in everything that we do. And, like those guys just going after each other in practice and playing hard, and really just iron sharpens iron, and allowing those guys to really, even the young guys, but at the same time, they only played so much of the season of freshmen, stuff like that. So, I mean, like just being able to come back and get more time under their belt, and really I think that's just really beneficial. I think it pushes everybody to do more, be better, and really be the best version of yourself.
We know we know the Gallaghers and the Robinsons, those names are fresh and, a welcome return for a lot of the fans. What about some guys that maybe we aren't aware of? You spoke of Quentin from Mary Wash. Don't know a lot about him, obviously. So what are some other guys out there that maybe we should go ahead and brush up on how to say their name, because we might be saying it a lot?
Yeah, I definitely think, Quentin, obviously, Quentin coming over from Mary Washington, he's the same age as us. And, he had some success last year, a good successful year of the shortened season. I think Quentin definitely is going to, he's going to go out there and play well for us. Hope so. And I think guys like Grant Voigt, who's a freshman, I think he's really opened some eyes and played really well in the scrimmages and everything like that. I think there's a multitude of guys that, especially with COVID and everything like that, you never know what can happen. We've seen in professional sports guys going down because of the test positive or their contact tracing or something like that. I mean, I think there's going to have to be a multitude of guys, and we really pride ourselves, I think, on that next man up mentality and everything like that.
All right, so I want to end with a couple more lighthearted type of questions. Just thinking about, the one thing that's going to come up is like, man, these guys are old. These are super old dudes coming back. Anybody throw out like, hey, dad, or anything, any type of nicknames for some of you older guys yet?
I think the number one thing that we just get razzed a little bit about just being old and injuries. And I know Trammell and I are in the training room warm up and everything like that before practice. We always get razzed about that. And Coach K actually made a comment to us one time, and he walked in and it was a bunch of us older guys in there, and he was like, "Oh, the old guys, early bird special, I guess." But yeah, some of the guys like to throw around the grandpa, call us grandpas and stuff like that. But it's all good fun. I just grateful to be back and everything like that. So I could roll with those punches.
Yeah, certainly, especially if it turns into success. Who cares? Like, at least they're calling you something. At least you're relevant. What about related to game day stuff? I'm always curious what athletes do, or if they're into a rhythm. Some are very superstitious, some aren't. Where do you lie on that spectrum? Do you have a certain routine that you like to stay in, or are you more of just kind of go with the flow?
I definitely think I definitely have a routine. I gotta honestly kind of have a routine to my day just in general. Me, Brooks, Trammell, Quentin, we all head down usually about like just even for practice about an hour before, and we go to the training room, roll out, all that different stuff, get that stuff out of the way. And I mean, I'm not super superstitious. If sometimes like there's one thing I notice sometimes it's just really out of the ordinary, I'll try it and do it a couple times, but for the most part, I'm pretty good with the flow. I think just staying in a rhythm is definitely good, but nothing too crazy, nothing that I have to do, put my right sock on first, right shoe on first, and then anything like that. But yeah, definitely kind of more go with the flow.
I got you. What about related to music? I know, at least as a former small time athlete as myself, music was always important on game days. Do you have something that you listen to, or type of genre you listen to?
Um, I, I'd probably go with more hip hop stuff like that. But usually, I mean, just in the past, it's been whatever's been playing in the locker room. Usually, I can get behind. It doesn't really matter too much to me. I'm kind of just mentally just trying to prepare myself for the game, and just get ready for the game and focus on what needs to get done, and more or less just like what our game plan is and everything like that. I'd probably say my going to the training room and stretching out is definitely more or less my routine. I don't really try and go out of the way to listen to any type of music or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully it's good music. It must be in there
Yep.
if there's 50 guys getting ready for a game and you're in
Yeah.
charge of music. That's a tough job. Whoever has that.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
Definitely a lot of critics with the music. Different guys like different types of genres and everything like that. So
Yeah.
there's some arguments sometimes, but it's all good.
Right. Right. It's part of it. Hey, last thing I want to ask you. I don't necessarily want total specifics, but what are reasonable expectations for this team? We know you're an ODAC preseason number one. All the coaches in the league voted on that, and they think you guys have the best roster. What about you all? What do you think can be done, knowing that who knows what the end of the season will entail with NCAA tournament stuff, and they're going to do everything they can to make sure there's a traditional tournament style, even though the pods thing will be a little bit different. What are you guys thinking? What do you think coming into the first game of the year? What are your eyeballs set on at the end?
I think it's really just I think we can go as far as we really want to go. Obviously, this year, it being different than normal years, take one game at a time, never take anything for granted, never taken any specific game for granted, because obviously we learned last year on a Monday, Amherst had canceled their season. And then by Thursday, championships were canceled, and we were going home by the end of that week. So I think for us, we're going to go as far as we allow ourselves to go. And really, I think we have 50 plus guys that are all really driven towards one goal, and our goals for this season, and really just focusing on that really next game, one game at a time. And I mean, as our phrase, our team motto thing for this year was stand alone together. And that was really indicative, I think, of our ability to stay together as a team and not really worry about what's going on outside of it and everything like that, and just stay driven towards our goal.